all-knowing and all-powerful, starting with the elderly wolf uncle. Chapter 11. Superb fighting skills, incredible vitality. Bruce looked at the boy who behaved strangely, and after being silent for a while, he said, "You won't find me for no reason." Quote. He had experienced tonight's events, and his disgust for Chen Tian was a little less. The two are seriously inconsistent in the concept of implementing justice, but in the cold and dirty city of Gotham, there is a companion who punishes rape and evil together. And the incident is always a good thing. Moreover, from Chen Tian's expression and words, he felt that he was not a heinous person, but everything he did was for Gotham. It's the solution to things, it's just too extreme. Chen Tian was slightly startled when he heard this, and his head thought for a moment. In fact, he really didn't have any intentions. These two encounters can also be regarded as accidental, although he appreciates the very charismatic Batman. But he will not bother so much for Batman. After all, he came here for the ability of superheroes and to improve his strength in the world of American comics. Hear Bruce's words though. Chen Tian thought about it, so he pushed the boat and said, "I want you to help find someone." Hearsay. Bruce asked, "Who?" Clark Kent. "I want his archives." Quote. Chen Tian responded without hesitation. The person he most wanted to find at the moment was naturally Superman Clark Kent. Hearing this name, Bruce hesitated for a moment. He had not heard of this name in high society. Could it be that the other party went to such great lengths just to find a nobody? In that case, it is not difficult. It's just that Bruce is not a great benevolent person. Even if he is young, he will never do a loss-making transaction, not to mention that he is the heir of the capitalist Wayne Group. Why should I help you? Thinking about it, he took back his thoughts and said, "I know who killed Mr. and Mrs. Wayne." Chen Tian had expected his words. No matter how young the old man is, after all, the blood of a capitalist flows in his genes, and he will definitely not make a lost transaction. In the previous life, he had read the original manga, so he knew the identity of the killer. Even if the universe is different, there will always be something in common, and this alone is enough to use as a bargaining chip. And Chen Tian believes that if he throws such a bait, it is impossible for Bruce not to take the bait. Sure enough, Chen Tian's faint words directly set off a terrifying wave in Bruce's heart. Bruce's face suddenly stiffened, and his pupils contracted to the extreme because of his undulating state of mind. His hands couldn't help but clench into fists, and his whole body trembled slightly. He could never forget the gunfire that night. Over the years, it has been like a nightmare, lingering in the mind. Bruce practiced hard for 10 years and returned to Gotham in order to find the murderer of that year. Now a teenager says that he knows the truth, and Bruce is excited and hesitant, not knowing whether he should believe the other party. Bruce gasped heavily, also trying to calm himself. "Is what you said true?" Chen Tian shrugged and said, "Of course, it's just to help me find someone, and I don't need to deceive you with this kind of thing." Quote. Bruce looked at the other party deeply, and the guard in his heart increased a little. This yellow-skinned boy really knows too much. But Bruce vaguely hoped that what the other party said could be true, and the teenager's terrifying self-healing ability also made him a little curious. In the future, if he has the opportunity, maybe he can take the opportunity to study it. Maybe you can crack the genetic code in the teenager's body and use this to improve your physical fitness. In the end, Bruce compromised. He nodded slowly, and said, "I promise to help you." Quote. Chen Tian hooked the corners of his mouth and stretched out his hand to Bruce, "Then I wish us a happy cooperation." Quote. Bruce stared at Chen Tian's outstretched palm, hesitated for a moment, shook it, and said in a low tone, "If you dare to deceive me, I will definitely make you pay." Quote. Bruce said as he increased the force in his hand. Chen Tian raised his eyebrows, and also began to exert strength, but there was still a harmless smile on his face. How could it be? "Ah, Dark Knight." Bruce snorted coldly, and then released his palm. "I will collect information as soon as possible." A rope shot out from the arm and embedded in the high wall. After hesitating for a moment, Bruce said to Chen Tian, "You should know how to find me." After that, Bruce's pitch-black figure swept upwards and quickly disappeared into the night. After he left, Chen Tian's mood seemed quite good, and after leisurely opening the portal, he finally disappeared into the night. A moment later, a rapid siren pierced the night sky, and a brigade of police cars arrived here. As soon as Inspector Gordon got out of the car, he smelled the strong smell of blood in the air, and his mood instantly fell to the bottom and hurried into the alley. The scene that came into view was like a purgatory-like scene, with corpses pouring on the dark and damp floor, and more internal organs spilled on the ground. And the gastric juice of all the accompanying police officers rushed to the throat of this scene. Inspector Gordon covered his mouth and nose, and his strong professional ethics prompted him to take a closer look. Judging from the wounds of those who died, it is clear that they were all from the hands of one person. But with the power of only one person, he killed a group of gangsters armed with guns. Is it Batman? No way, he promised never to kill anyone. While Inspector Gordon's brows furrowed and he was deeply shocked, he also felt a strong fear creeping up in his heart. Meanwhile, the Marvel Universe. Chen Tian had already returned to his original room and fell asleep against the soft bed. The sky outside the window brightened with time, and the night passed quickly. At this time, Rogan, who was at the Mexican border, drove away at dawn and rushed directly to the place agreed with the Mexican woman yesterday to pick up people. This list is related to whether he and the professor can go to sea, and Logan Howlett still values it, otherwise he would not take such a big risk to do it. However, when he arrived at the agreed place, he found that there was a dead silence around him. With his beastly intuition, he immediately felt a hint of foreboding, and after carefully pushing open the hidden door, he only found Galilab sitting on the back chair. There was a strange aura in the air, and Logan frowned slightly, trying to shout a few times, "Galilab! I'm here to pick up someone, move quickly. Unexpectedly, there was no response. Logan's eyes narrowed slightly, and when he got closer, he found that there was no anger in the other party's wide eyes, and there were bullet holes left by bullets on his forehead. Seeing this, he suddenly felt a tingling in his heart, realized that the situation was not good, quickly turned away, and drove back to his place of residence on the Mexican border. Something is going to happen. This list did not get benefits, but caused a commotion, and even the plan to leave had to be advanced. Logan in the driver's seat, feeling extremely irritated by the escape life that was about to begin, slammed the steering wheel and cursed. Fuck. Quote. But he didn't notice that there was a slight tremor in the trunk. It seems that something is hiding inside. Chapter 15. The Kidnapped xianxia. Donald's threat. New Mexico border. Black Chrysler sped on the endless desert road, and the cold wind pouring in through the car window did not calm the anger in Logan Hawlett's heart. He looked at the desert that was constantly plundering on both sides of the road, and a strong sense of anxiety and uneasiness rose in his heart. I hope nothing goes wrong, Logan said to himself in a gloomy tone, and slammed the accelerator on Chrysler and ejected out. With the sound of harsh brakes, the vehicle stopped sharply and raised bursts of yellow sand, filling the surrounding space. He did not care at all, pushed the car door and walked down. And slammed the door shut. Boom. Caliban in the factory noticed the movement, but also smelled the sense of crisis, and walked out to meet Logan's figure. The other party came in a fiery manner. Seeing this, Caliban tightened his heart and asked, Rogan, what? Logan answered without looking back and continued to walk towards the factory. What's wrong with you? What happened? Caliban frowned and followed suit. I shouldn't have taken it. This is a mistake to start with. Logan walked towards the dimly lit room, his brows furrowed in a gloomy tone, then his steps paused, and he said to Caliban again, You prepare, we'll leave this damn place later. When Caliban heard this, he was slightly startled and realized the seriousness of the matter. If it weren't for the urgency of the situation, this old man who had experienced countless years would not be so anxious. However, at this time, Caliban caught a glimpse of a change in the car, and he smelled the strange smell and turned his head to see that the trunk was open. Fuck.